I think that you need to hear this again. I'm telling you, I was like freaked out by this. I mean, the whole Meet the Press interview was basically about how George Tenet helped sell the war. He shouldn't have done it. He says, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have been doing political things. I did help them market the war, but I didn't jump up and down. That's where you've gone too far. I did not jump up and down. I did say slam dunk. I did say that I would help them market the war. I did, and I did help them market the war, and I did sit behind Colin Powell, and I knew what Colin Powell was saying was complete bull, and I knew there was no Al-Qaeda connection, but I didn't care. I let them, I got used, I tell you. And now all I can hope for is $4 million in a book advance and many jobs working for defense contractors, which he has. He has. He's working on a ton of defense contractors, boards of directors. But I think that the most important part of this interview will not get reported by the press because the press is terrified to tell anybody anything that might enlighten us on what the hell went wrong in the lead up to 9/11, that whole summer. You know, the last truth we heard was from Richard Clarke, who apologized to the families, who apologized to this nation, and he was scolded for apologizing, but he was the one that said the lights were blinking red, everyone's hair was on fire during that idiotic, I mean, look, the 9/11 Commission did not have subpoena power. It was a presidential commission. And the president decided he didn't want them to have subpoena power, so they didn't have subpoena power. So they could only ask what anybody would answer. They couldn't compel anybody to answer further. They couldn't compel documents. They couldn't compel testimony. They just wrote a report based on a cursory conversation with the president and the vice president together, not under oath. Tenet is now telling some of the story, but blaming others always. Blaming everybody always. He's got fleas all over him, but he keeps on trying to say he did not lie down with dogs. And it ain't washing. So I want to play this again. This was 3 minutes of audio, 3 minutes of your time, so that you will understand that your government knew in June of 2001, reiterated it to the president in July 2001, wrote a briefing in August, didn't go to see the president until 3 weeks later, just maybe 2 weeks before 9/11, and the president wouldn't get off of his ranch. And then 4 airplanes were allowed to make U-turns all over the eastern seaboard over a period of about 2 hours on that morning. Now, you tell me that our intelligence wasn't right. You tell me that the president did everything he could. You tell me the vice president did everything he could. You tell me that this government did everything they could to keep us safe at night. You tell me Republicans are better on national security after you hear this explanation of how far in advance George Tenet told Condi Rice, and the president was told, et cetera, and so forth. This is the first clip is going to be 2 minutes long. This is a very concerned CIA operative or analyst briefing George Tenet and then briefing the president on his ranch in Crawford. Back in June of 2001, they're coming here, Mr. President. They're coming here.
Then in June, a briefer of the CIA named Rich B. gave a conclusion saying, based on all the reporting we've seen, bin Laden is going to launch a significant terrorist attack against U.S. Israeli interests in the coming weeks. July 10th, you got another briefing. So alarming that you picked up the phone, said to Condoleezza Rice, I want to come see you now. Jumped in the car with some of your key advisors, went to see her. Rich B. gave her a briefing package, opening line, there will be a significant terrorist attack in the coming weeks or months. And then later July, Rich B., sitting at the CIA, said, quote, they're coming here. When he told you that, what did you think?
It was a moment I'll never forget. We were sitting there trying to rack our brains, trying to figure out what we were up against at that moment. And, you know, Rich said that. It hung over the room. We had no texture. We took it seriously, but we had no texture at that moment. Of course, this is a human being who's been following this for many years, and he's giving us an instinctual call.
This is late July. The evidence coming in, the intelligence, big event, spectacular. King Abdullah of Jordan calling, saying we have to go to Afghanistan, we have to do something. The presidential daily brief was prepared for the president on August 6th, entitled Bin Laden Determined to Strike in the U.S. Late August, you went to Crawford, Texas, first time ever, met with the president, rode with him in his pickup truck. Did you say to him at that time, Mr. President, Rich B told me at the CIA, they are coming. You got to do something now.
Tim, by August, remember this threat reporting starts way back in the spring. May, June, July, August. I held nothing back from the president. He understood our concerns about threats. He understood what we were doing around the world at the time. The interesting thing is by the end of July, everything goes silent on us.
Okay, he's just full of crap, and here's how we know. Because he keeps on talking. And this was the rest of the conversation he had. And you're going to hear him tell you that by August, we didn't give the president anything more.
Do you think the president should have come off vacation back to Washington and pulled all the principals together and said, this intelligence is alarming, we got to do something?
I think, Tim, that in the August time period, we weren't giving the president more. I think I think Condi Rice was running the NSC, Dick Clark was taking actions. Well, you can go back and think about this. The hindsight may be perfect, but that's what happened.
The CIA Inspector General has written a report, an analysis of what happened leading up to this. Do you think that should be made public?
Well, Tim, we've been evaluated by 9/11 Commission, by Joint Inquiry Staff. This is the same CIA Inspector General who told me